Once I learned about the scholarship offer to one of the doctors working in Guyana, I had to make first, the country approached PAHO to see whether there was any area that we could assist with. We had assisted the country in terms of building their human resource strategic plan. So I knew the need areas. So once I realized that it was oncology, PAHO was in full support. And once we did that, the challenge for us was to bring all partners together, government, the OAS that had given the scholarship, as well as PAHO. And bringing government together meant that things that we wanted government to do, we had to ensure that that was done. And one of them was to make sure that this person was paid. It was a challenge, but eventually we got it done. We wanted to make sure that this person was also given things that will make her study smooth, offer language course, make sure that she was given a per diem, not a per diem as such, but was given an emolument per year, a stipend that helps her to live in Brazil. In this case, it was just $2,000 US dollars per year, and it goes a long way. The other area that we had to also insist was to make sure that government agrees to making sure that there is a position for her upon her return, so that when she comes, she's not just within the system, but actually coming to fulfill an area of need. The first thing that I always want to ensure is that we do not assist in any fellowship because we want to do it or because someone has gotten a fellowship, but we have to ensure that it's part of the strategic plan. And the Human Resource Strategic Plan actually details the areas that Guyana needs help. So, for instance, in this particular case, it was general oncology. And Guyana, a population of 750,000, there is nobody with the required training in oncology. We have two doctors who are from Cuba, but they come and go, and these are also not nationals. So we felt that there was a real need to have a national. And therefore, the oncology training, I felt, was going to go a long way. The other thing that we also look for is to make sure that the person has links in the country. And this is an individual who had already started a foundation that looks at children who've lost their parents to cancer. So once we established that, we knew we were on the right grounds. The other thing that I think is pertinent is also to make sure that once we popularize that, people got to know that, oh yes, there could be another avenue whereby people could get training rather than staying forever and not have the required postgraduate training. One other thing we've added to the fellowship program is to make sure that we don't just train people because they want to be trained, but for the people that we're going to support, we encourage them to have served at least 1 full year in the rural areas. Once you meet that requirement, and you've also met a requirement in terms of rotation within the National Referral Hospital, then you are eligible. This is what I'll call a tripartite arrangement, whereby PAHO, we are not a donor agency, so we only bring ideas and bring people to the table. So I think first we have to get government on our side. And what I'll say is that the moment the OAS scholarships, the call for applications come out, we have to send them to government and make sure that they are popularized. Make sure that persons who need them or who need to know are made aware of them. So I think that is key. And I will encourage all other countries to do that. Once we do that, we should also encourage a situation whereby we make sure that it's within an area that the country needs. Because if it's an area that the country doesn't need, this person will come back and probably not get employment. That person will have to go straight into private practice. So that is needed. The third point is once we make sure that we work with OAS, PAHO is on board, and the government is on board, we make sure that government does what it needs. So, for instance, make sure that the person still gets their salaries, because when they go, they leave their families behind, and someone has to take care of their families. So I think that is key. And one other thing that I always insist on is when they come, they have to work closely with PAHO in terms of our comparative advantage areas and how we can help them for them to also help us meet our goals. We have a system whereby if the training is up to 18 months, less than 18 months, we insist that the person works at least for 3 years. If the training is over 18 months, we request the fellow to work for a minimum of 5 years. After that, if they want to go into private practice or anything of the sort, at least they would have met that requirement. We try not to make it punitive, so it's not something that we dwell on, so that they say, oh, they are giving me a scholarship and they are punishing me. No, it's something that we encourage them. So during that 18 months or during that 3 years or during that 5 years, we actually work with them. Anytime that there's any capacity building by PAHO in that area, we know that we've helped to train that person, so we bring that person on board. We try to support them in areas that they are working, because once it's within the HR strategic area of need, that means that it's an area that we work. So we encourage them through that, and that goes a long way.